Hello, I'm just going to go through replacing the sink plug holes. You see on this side I've got the new one in, and this is the one I'm going to replace. Now I've got a pack here which just gives you all the bits for 2 plug holes and the overflow. So you can see I've got water in here, but it's actually disconnected down here, and so I'm just going to go through doing the other side. Now on the first one I did, obviously I had the water in the other side, cleaned it out and then put this one in, and so now I've just got the water over in here ready to be able to clean out any of the pipes and bits I want from this one. So the first thing you're going to do is, you'll see in the plug hole you've got a couple of marks. You can just hold the screwdriver in there and you can hold underneath, and this actually turns around as you go, and it's just a screw all the way through. Now I'll just show you the fitting. Let's see how that all comes together. So the one with this overflow is for this side, so you must make sure you put them on the right side. And this has got to stop if you don't want to use the overflow. In my case I do have the overflow, I've already taken that off. It was just a unscrew here. The one that goes on actually has a screw that goes in, and then a stretchy pipe to find the distance. Now, once you take this off, it's pretty mucky and horrible in there. Now the pipes can be cleaned, but you don't really want to be. You're replacing this, so straight in the bin and get your nice new one on. So you see it's the same here. We've got these, so what you're effectively doing is holding underneath, and you're just using it like a nut. You can either turn the bottom or twist that round. They're usually not too tight, tight enough to actually compress the rubber and make sure there's no leak. So once you take that out, you'll see that you have rubber for the top side and rubber for the bottom side. So on the bottom side, I'm actually going to remove this part. So the first part I didn't do this because I wanted to drain the water from here, so I left this all connected and just took the pipe off in the middle here, cleaned that side. But now I'm on the other side, I'm going to take this whole section off here. This is all new before, so I'm not worried about this down here, but this was all previously fitted. I'm not really needing to replace it. So I'm just going to give it a good clean up and put this back. So obviously it gets quite mucky inside. I mean, new or old, it's going to have the same problem over time. So this is all about just a nice way to refresh, prevent any smells coming up. It's just simple as loosen that. You've got to watch you don't lose these rubber clips and pieces in there. Now this is all loose at the top, so this is all going to come out, and then I'll throw the top part away. I don't need that anymore. Okay, so now I've got everything out there. So obviously the left side remains in with the water. Now you can see the muck that's left behind. That was obviously in the old pipe as well. It's pretty disgusting. That's the whole point of what we're doing here. So just give that a bit of a clean up. It's not on hard, but obviously you've got nothing down there, so squeeze out your cloth because you don't want this stuff going down the hole. Now give the top and bottom a good clean wipe through, because you want the rubber, the new one, to obviously have a good clean connection. As you see, it's not particularly tough stuff, it's just smelly and horrible. You'll find whenever you remove anything in the house that's been buried away, even the skirting, it's got pretty nasty behind there over time. And that's the really nice thing about replacing them. Okay, so cleaned up all these pipes. I'm just going to show you, I removed the rubber as well from these clips as I go. Now to get them out, you just give it a good old tap, and then eventually they come out. So to put these back on, just goes, you'll see there's a fatter side and a thinner side on these usually. You just, on the ones where it's sealed, you just drop it in. On the ones where it's actually got a pipe connection, I'm just showing this as an example here, you just slide the rubber in and then pull that, ready to go. Obviously that isn't where it goes, but just to show you. Now when giving it a clean, I just used the brush to shove down and get everything out, and that's all ready to put back. Okay, so finally putting in the bits here. Underneath, I've put in place the connectors, but nothing's actually been tightened up, not one of the connectors, and it's important to know that so you make sure you go back over everything, but that allows us to move everything around and make sure we're in the right place. So you see I've got the one underneath with the rubber under, and you'll also see I'm making sure to keep that this side because that's going to connect up afterwards. And so then what is left to add here, I don't need the gloves anymore now. I've done the dirty bits. What's needed here is just to make sure that sits correctly, just there. Sorry, the camera points the wrong way occasionally. And then just to pick that up from this side, make sure everything's snugly aligned where we want it to be, and this is the first thing that we're going to be tightening up fully, and then once that's done, the same with the screwdriver at the top to clamp and just bring it to quite a tight squeeze to get the rubber to compress, and then obviously we'll just tighten these up, and I'll get that one back in there, and then we'll be good. Okay, so we have that in, and now everything's tightened. I just want to say, when you tighten everything up, just go over everything as well. I've got the washing machine coming in there as well, so I gave that a good tighten. I also tried to make that straight so that the water doesn't get stuck in the pipe, but I might have to actually just clamp that a little bit higher and make that's another job anyway. So also just check the tightness of connections you didn't work on, you didn't loosen, because you may find that just jiggling things around you've actually loosened things, or that they weren't tight enough before, so it's always good to check those. Now I'm just going to remove this, and that's the stop valve. We didn't need this, and then we're going to pop this up on the inside, and I'll screw this front plate in on this side. As before, let's just wipe around there. Obviously we've just giving it a crude wipe to make sure it's not putting any dirt back between the rubber. and the metal. Now, as soon as I've put all the pipes back, I'm just going to pop that in so I don't lose the screw. And in fact, what I'm going to do is connect this first so I can see how long I need it. So just to show that stop valve, obviously without the inside, that will come back over there and then screw back into the plug underneath. So you can see that will just pop onto there. And I haven't done it too tight, but enough so that I can just squeeze this up into place and fiddle with it. So let's get this on first and then make sure it's centered over the hole. So you can see I've just made it reasonably tight to compress the rubber in and stop any leaks there. Now we don't want to have this drop like that, so I actually need it to be smaller. So there we go, that's now feeding directly into the pipe there. We're not going to have any water stuck sitting in there. And then we can tighten that up. Now I've got a little tool that helps with those small nuts. Let's just show you that. So this tool, when you've got the small nuts, this is especially useful on the taps. But it can go up behind, and then you can use this just to clamp around the nut, put it this way, and then twist and make it tight. So we're done. So now obviously just to test everything and make sure there's no leaks left. Just to reiterate on that tool, it's not necessary to have that tool. It just allows you to tighten things a little bit more easily, but it is a useful tool to have, I think. And they're not much, I think, whenever you change the taps and do things. So you see that you don't need to have a plumber do that. So let's check everything flows through fine. I'll check the other side. No problem. And there we've got a nice new sink plug holes. And that's all that says. So that job took me probably about 15 to 20 minutes. And it's something I've been wanting to do because I could tell, you could see where food had got down, it become a bit horrible. So quite a quick job. So just some tips to mention on that. When cleaning, make sure you clean out the rubber seals. You want to make sure everything's fit going back, otherwise it can be the dirt goes behind the rubber seal after you fit it where it wouldn't have got behind there before, and that can obviously cause problems. And double check the connections are all tight at the end. easy one to miss. And one that obviously I didn't do there, but I think it's very easy to have a natural instinct to pull the plug on the one you have the water in, and you don't want that. But as a precaution, have a bowl under there or something and just clear out a little bit, so if things go a bad route, you've at least captured most of it or enabled it to be easily cleaned up. Yeah, that was reasonably easy to do.